You are too accessible, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, energetically. Your reactions arrive before your decisions have time to form. Your face explains you before your mouth ever opens. You walk into rooms already negotiating your position, already adjusting yourself to be acceptable, already signaling that harmony matters more to you than truth. You smile reflexively, not because something is funny, but because you want the atmosphere to stay safe, because tension feels like a threat you must neutralize. You nod even when you disagree, not because you are convinced, but because disagreement feels dangerous, like it might cost you something you can't afford to lose. You fill silence with words, because quiet makes you feel exposed, as if the stillness might draw attention to something unfinished inside you, something unguarded. You may not call this weakness. You may call it politeness, empathy, or social intelligence, but your nervous system knows exactly what it is, and so does everyone else. People do not need to be cruel or manipulative to respond to vulnerability. They only need to be human. When they sense that you want something from them, approval, reassurance, acceptance, validation, their behavior shifts automatically. They lay on bike. They evaluate, not in fear, in assessment. And in that assessment, respect does not vanish dramatically. It drains quietly, almost politely, until one day you realize you are being overlooked, talked over, or taken for granted. There is a version of you that learned this behavior early, long before you had language for it. A version shaped by reward and punishment, by smiles given for obedience and withdrawal of warmth for resistance. That version learned that being agreeable reduced risk, that being pleasant made authority figures relax, that blending in was safer than standing out. It learned that approval equaled safety and disapproval equaled danger. Over time, this strategy stopped being conscious. You stopped choosing it deliberately. It started choosing you automatically. It became your default posture in the world. But what once protected you is now exposing you. The world does not elevate men who seek permission to exist. It does not reward men who ask to be chosen. It elevates men who move as if permission is irrelevant. Men who are anchored internally rather than scanning externally for cues. Every time you look outward to check how you are being perceived, every time you subtly adjust your tone, posture, or opinion to maintain approval, you surrender authority. You give away authorship of your internal state. You are no longer leading yourself. You are reacting to the imagined judgment of others, and that reaction is visible, felt, and quietly counted against you. Power does not expand outward. It condenses inward, like molten metal settling into its own core, unseen yet undeniable. Men who carry real presence are not expressive in the way insecure men are. They do not rush to display friendliness, humor, or relatability, because these are signals of need. Signals that broadcast emotional availability to the world before it is earned. Their emotional energy is contained and not suppressed, not denied, not blocked but deliberately held, like a reservoir of gravity that pulls without effort. That containment creates pressure, and pressure, in human perception, is magnetic. It commands attention without a word. When people cannot immediately read you, when your thoughts, intentions, and reactions are not instantly legible, their minds start working for you. They begin projecting meaning onto you, filling the silence with interpretation, assigning depth, strategy, judgment, and strength where there is only restraint. You have made no claim. You have said nothing, and yet their nervous systems insist there is authority here, because the uncertainty of your presence weighs heavier than the familiarity of any man who constantly performs or explains. Familiar men are safe. Safe men are manageable. Manageable men are ignored. And that is why the truly present man is noticed before he speaks, feared before he moves, and respected without having to demand it.
Silence is where most men fail. They cannot tolerate it. They hear a pause and mistake it for awkwardness, discomfort, or social error. They rush to fill it, speak faster, over-explain, soften their tone, or clarify intentions that no one asked to be clarified. This is not communication. It is appeasement. It is an unconscious plea for safety. Silence feels threatening because it removes feedback, the mirrors that insecure men rely upon to navigate interactions. Without these mirrors, they lose orientation, falter, and reveal themselves. But silence is not empty. Silence is pressure without release. It is a vacuum that the unprepared feel compelled to fill, a psychological gravity well that forces people to sit with themselves, to reckon with their own projections, their own judgments, and their own need to control the narrative. When you pause before answering, when you allow even a single heartbeat to stretch longer than expected, something imperceptible shifts. The other person starts to wait. They start to question the words they have chosen. They start to wonder what you are thinking. And in that subtle shift, the frame changes. You are no longer merely participating in the interaction. You are containing it. You are holding the space. And whoever holds the frame holds the exchange. Control has shifted without force, without argument, without visible aggression. It has shifted simply because you refuse to give yourself away. Your body tells more of the story than your words ever could. You can speak with the sharpest, most confident sentences imaginable, and if your body betrays hesitation, doubt, or tension, people will believe the body every single time. Rounded shoulders, tight limbs, restless movements, excessive nodding, fidgeting, and micro-adjustments, small, unconscious signals, broadcast uncertainty like a beacon. These are not quirks, nor are they harmless habits. They are biological indicators, ingrained in the nervous system, visible to anyone with a mind tuned to human behavior. A man who lacks containment moves through the world trying to shrink before conflict appears, compressing himself to avoid potential friction, almost as if space itself is threatening. Every gesture, every posture, every glance is a silent plea for safety. He adapts automatically, bends instinctively, surrenders presence without being asked. A man with presence does the opposite, and it is effortless. He does not rush to accommodate discomfort that is not his responsibility. He does not move to preempt judgment. He occupies space naturally, openly, without thought. His movements are deliberate, measured, slow, and precise. He does not twitch or fidget. He does not look around the room searching for permission, approval, or threat. His eyes land. They hold. They linger. Scanning, nervous eyes belong to prey. Focused, anchored eyes belong to something that knows it does not need to flee. It knows it is safe because it is anchored internally, not because it seeks reassurance externally. People respond to this before logic ever intervenes. Something in their nervous system recognizes it immediately. They adjust their posture, their tone, their behavior to match the presence they cannot define, cannot control, and cannot predict. They respond because it is biologically uncomfortable not to. Availability is another place where most men unconsciously bleed power, often without realizing it. You answer messages instantly, even when your attention is elsewhere. You stay longer than you want at events, dinners, or conversations, because leaving feels rude or uncomfortable. You explain why you are leaving, justify your decisions, account for your choices, and hope that your transparency will be understood. But every instant of availability, every over-explained exit, every over-justified action is a subtle surrender of authority. Time, attention, and energy are currency, and value is created not by abundance, but by limitation. When you are always accessible, you communicate that your presence is disposable, your attention negotiable, your value interchangeable. Scarcity is not a trick. It is the natural law of all things that matter. Men with authority are not constantly present. They arrive with intent. They leave without ceremony. They do not narrate their exits. They do not seek validation or explanation. They simply reclaim their energy, return it to their purpose, and continue to live according to the priorities that only they understand. That withdrawal creates a vacuum. And human psychology, wired to fill gaps, immediately tries to occupy it. Where did he go? What is he doing? What is so important that he is absent from this moment? Curiosity rises automatically. Mystery forms, not because the man tried to be mysterious, but because he demonstrated direction, focus, and self-containment.
Approval addiction is the deepest chain, the heaviest invisible shackle, because it disguises itself as virtue. If praise elevates you and criticism destabilizes you, you are not confident, are programmable. You are no longer sovereign in your own mind. Anyone capable of shifting your emotional state with a word, with a glance, with a tone, owns leverage over you. This is subtle, invisible, and relentless. Men with containment do not react emotionally because their self-assessment is internal. They're not reliant on external validation to feel real. They already know exactly who they are, even when everyone else tries to tell them differently. So when they're challenged, insulted, provoked, or undermined, there is no urgency to defend, to explain, to justify. Defense implies injury. Explanation implies the accuser has authority. Instead, they maintain neutrality. They agree. They say nothing. They offer silence, indifference, dismantles, manipulation, because most people, particularly individuals, cannot exist without a reaction. When you deny them that reaction, you evaporate their power. You remove their leverage, and in that absence, something subtle happens. People begin to recalibrate. They measure you. They study you. They hesitate. They are unsure, and in that uncertainty, you have already won. None of this survives without competence. This is where false confidence collapses. Posture without substance becomes arrogance, a hollow shell waiting to be shattered. Silence without insight becomes awkwardness, an empty pause that draws suspicion rather than respect. Distance without depth becomes insecurity masquerading as discipline, a costume worn to fool others, but never yourself. Your nervous system knows when you are pretending. It reacts. It sabotages. Anxiety tightens your chest. Tension tugs at your limbs. Hesitation creeps into your decisions. You might speak boldly, but your body hesitates. You might stand tall, but your mind shrinks. Real confidence does not rely on appearance or performance. It is built on evidence, repeated experience, and unshakable proof of your own capabilities. It is forged through doing what is difficult, again and again, until the struggle itself becomes a silent testament to your power. Competent men do not rush because they trust their ability to handle what comes next. They do not posture because they do not need to convince anyone of their worth. Their words are measured, deliberate, heavy with consequence. Their actions are precise, decisive, unavoidable. And people respond. People watch because experience has taught them that when this man moves, something real, something meaningful follows. The final obstacle, the one most men never overcome, is the fear of being cast as the villain. You want authority without consequence, strength without friction, respect without discomfort. But power always generates friction. Boundaries frustrate those who benefited from your compliance. Growth offends those who preferred you predictable. Influence irritates the dependent and unsettles the entitled. You cannot prioritize your life without becoming the antagonist in someone else's story. Men who have containment accept this quietly, without argument. They do not chase approval. They do not argue with perception. They do not correct misinterpretation. They let people think what they will. They understand that being misunderstood is not a reflection of weakness, it is a byproduct of sovereignty. Being called cold by the emotional, selfish by the undisciplined, or arrogant by the insecure is not failure. It is the unavoidable cost of self-mastery. It is the proof that your internal state no longer relies on others for validation. It is the mark of a man who stands unshaken, unbothered, unmoved by the narratives of the world. This transformation does not arrive dramatically. It does not announce itself with fireworks or sudden displays. It creeps in quietly, almost invisibly. You walk slower. Your steps gain weight and purpose. You pause before speaking, letting the moment breathe, letting others fill the silence with uncertainty. You stop smiling without reason, letting neutrality replace the reflexive gestures that once signaled your subservience. You stop explaining yourself to people who have not earned an explanation. Your old identity diversion that survived by pleasing, bending, and adapting will panic. It will scream that you are cold, distant, and strange. It will urge you to repair discomfort, to regain warmth, to return to safety. Let it panic. Let it scream. That version of you is dying. It served a purpose. This version survives by standing by commanding space with absence and presence alike. Over time, the world begins to recalibrate. The jokes that once punctuated your interactions soften. The casual disrespect evaporates. People stop patting you on the back and start looking you in the eye. They notice. They hesitate. They wonder. You did not become violent. You did not become cruel. You did not manipulate or deceive. You became unavailable to manipulation. You became a force anchored in self, impervious to subtle exploitation, unshakable in your calm. And that is what unsettles people the most. It is not the threat of your power. It is the certainty, the silent authority, the inexplicable confidence that radiates without demand. You have become an anomaly in a world of reflexive reactions, a monolith in a river of driftwood. People do not know where you are heading, but they feel the weight of your direction. And that weight, uncompromising and invisible, commands attention, respect, and unspoken awe. If you're ready to stop being moved and start moving, subscribe now. Step into the next level, unlock the truth few dare to see, and become the force they notice before you speak. The choice is yours: rise or remain invisible.